Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into something a little different today?
I am.
We're going to be looking at the world of high-end pet fashion,
Okay.
like think canine couture,
Wow.
designer clothes just for dogs,
Interesting.
and there's even like a pet gala.
Really?
It's like the Met Gala,
Oh, wow.
but with dogs on the catwalk.
I love it.
And you might be surprised by how much there is to unpack in this whole trend.
I bet.
We're going to be talking about the psychology behind why people dress up their pets.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also going to get into some new research about how dogs see the world.
Cool.
For this deep dive, we've got some pretty interesting sources.
Yeah.
We've got an interview with a top designer,
Okay.
some research on dog cognition,
Cool.
and even a look at how brands like Eddie Bauer are getting involved in this pet fashion thing.
That's wild. I mean, what I find so fascinating about this trend is that it's not just about making our pets look cute.
Right.
It's like it shows us how the relationship between humans and animals is changing and how we show off our relationships through fashion and stuff.
Exactly. So why don't we start by meeting one of the designers who's really shaken things up in this world.
Okay.
Her name is Shantell
Design.
and she's the talent behind Shantell Designs.
Interesting.
It's a Canadian-French company
Oh, wow.
that makes high fashion for dogs and cats.
For dogs and cats.
Yeah, I'm talking about crochet wigs,
Wow.
edgy leather jackets, and even glamorous gowns.
That's so cool.
And what's really interesting is that Chantal gets a lot of her inspiration from her own dogs.
Makes sense.
They're like her muses,
Uh-huh.
and she uses them as models too.
I love that.
And she goes the extra mile
Yeah.
by offering custom designs for all breeds.
Wow.
So every pet can have a unique look.
I love that.
That's so thoughtful.
Yeah.
And her journey is pretty inspiring too.
Tell me about it.
She started out just selling her creations online.
Oh, wow.
And now she has her own boutique design house
Really?
in Canada.
That's
There's clearly a demand for this high-end pet fashion.
this idea of demand,
Mm-hmm.
it really makes you think,
Yeah.
why are people so into dressing up their pets?
Right.
It can't just be about looks, right?
Right. It can't just be to make their Instagram cuter.
No.
Our sources say there's something much deeper going on.
Really?
Think about it.
Yeah,
Pets, they give us unconditional love and a sense of stability,
they do.
especially in a world that can feel so unpredictable.
Definitely.
They're companions.
Hmm.
They give us emotional support.
It's so important these days.
It is.
And
Yeah.
some researchers think that because it's harder to keep up with traditional social connections these days,
Mm-hmm.
pets give us this consistent feeling of affection
Yeah.
and belonging.
I agree.
So it kind of makes sense that
Yeah.
we'd want to show off that connection,
Yeah.
And fashion is like a very visible way to do it.
It is. It's like saying, hey, world, look at this amazing bond I have with my furry friend.
Totally.
Mm.
And it's not even just about showing our love for our pets.
Right.
It's about expressing ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we pick clothes that match our own style.
Yeah.
So we probably do the same for our pets.
Right.
Like creating a matching look.
Yeah.
And that makes the bond even stronger.
It does. And this is where it gets interesting.
Wanna listen?
Our sources even talk about, like, possible gender dynamics
Really?
behind why we choose certain clothes for our pets.
Interesting.
Some people think women might dress up their pets more often
Oh, yeah.
because of those nurturing instincts.
Oh, I see.
They see their pets as part of the family,
Uh-huh.
like a furry four-legged child.
It makes sense. And it's fascinating to think about how those nurturing instincts could play out.
Yeah.
And for men,
Yeah.
some sources say that dressing up their pets,
Uh-huh.
it could be a way for them to bond with their pets,
Yes.
like through doing an activity together.
I see.
Or maybe it gives them a sense of control. Or it could even help them to interact with other people,
Yeah.
especially if they're kind of shy.
I could see that. So many possibilities.
Definitely.
Of course, we're just scratching the surface here,
Yeah,
but it definitely adds another layer to this whole trend.
for sure.
What I'm really curious about, though,
Yeah,
is what the dog thinks about all of this.
that is a good question.
Do they even care what they're wearing?
Right.
Or are we just projecting our own ideas onto them?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And surprisingly, research on dog cognition gives us some pretty interesting answers.
Okay.
It turns out
Yeah.
dogs have much more sophisticated social skills
Right.
and cognitive skills than we give them credit for.
So you're saying my dog understands more than I think he does.
Wow.
I always knew he was a smart cookie.
I don't know about genius.
Okay.
But studies show that dogs are incredibly good at reading human emotions.
Wow.
They can understand our gestures
Nah.
and even predict what we're going to do next.
That's amazing.
They've adapted to the human world in amazing ways.
Yeah.
And their ability to understand us is a big part of why they're such awesome companions.
That makes sense. But how does this tie back to fashion?
Right.
Do they even notice what they're wearing?
Good question.
Or are they just going with the flow?
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Research says that dogs pay even more attention to humans than wolves do. It seems like they've evolved specifically to interact with us.
Wow.
And part of that involves watching what we do.
So they are paying attention to us.
They can understand pointing.
Right.
They learn by watching us.
Wow.
And they even do something called over-imitation.
Over-imitating.
Where they copy our actions, even when those actions don't seem to have a purpose.
Wait, so
Yeah.
if I start doing jumping jacks in a tutu,
Okay.
my dog's going to try to join in.
I mean, maybe not jumping jacks in a tutu.
Okay.
But the idea is that dogs might copy what we do, even if they don't get why we're doing it.
So they're just trying to be like us.
It could be that they see it as a way to connect with us and strengthen the bond.
Interesting.
Maybe they're thinking, hey, this is what my human does.
Right?
So I want to do it too.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is.
It makes you realize we probably underestimate our dogs and how much they understand us and interact with us on a deeper level.
Right.
But then it also makes you wonder, is it always okay to dress them up?
Oh.
Could there be like an ethical side to this whole thing?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to get into next.
Okay.
Just because dogs can adapt to our world doesn't mean we should just impose our desires on them without thinking about their well-being.
I agree.
You know, it's easy to get excited about picking out like the perfect outfit.
Right.
But remembering that dogs don't experience the world like we do is really important.
Yeah.
Just because they wag their tail.
Doesn't always mean they're excited about wearing that sweater.
True.
Even if it is cashmere.
Okay, so how do we know where the line is?
Right.
Between, you know, showing them affection through fashion and maybe crossing over into something that might not be the best for them.
Well, it helps to think about the relationship between humans and dogs.
Okay.
In terms of who has the power.
Okay.
Like, we decide what they eat when they go for walks.
Right.
How they're trained. Even what they wear.
So even though we try to be good owners, we're really the ones making all the decisions.
Exactly.
And that's where we have to be really careful.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to stuff that might not actually be necessary for them.
Yeah.
Like clothes.
It's like having a friend.
Okay.
Who always lets you pick the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's nice to get what you want, but it's good to think about what your friend might be in the mood for, too. That's a good way to put it. But dogs can't tell us what they want to wear.
No.
Or eat, for that matter.
Exactly.
So how can we make sure we're making good choices?
You got to watch their body language.
Okay.
Look for the clues.
Got it.
If they don't seem into putting on an outfit, or they try to get out of it, that's a pretty clear sign.
Right.
They're not feeling it.
So if they seem uncomfortable, they probably are.
Most likely.
What about those guilty looks they give us?
Oh.
Like when they know they've done something wrong.
That's what we call anthropomorphism.
Anthropomorphism.
Giving human feelings and thoughts to animals.
Okay.
It's easy to think those puppy dog eyes mean they feel guilty. But research says they're actually reacting to us.
To us.
Yeah, like our tone of voice or facial expressions.
So my dog isn't actually sorry for chewing my slippers.
Maybe not.
He's trying to stay out of trouble.
Exactly.
Wow.
We have to be careful about putting our own feelings onto our dogs.
I see that.
It can cause misunderstandings.
Right.
And it can even hurt their trust in us.
That's a good point. So back to the clothes.
Okay.
What are some tips to make sure we're choosing things that are safe and comfortable for our dogs?
Fit is super important.
Okay.
Clothes that are too tight can make it hard for them to move and breathe.
That makes sense.
And clothes that are too loose can trip them up or get caught on things.
Right.
It's all about finding that perfect fit.
So like Goldilocks.
Exactly.
Not too big, not too small. Just right. What about the fabric?
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Anything we should stay away from?
You want fabrics that breathe, especially when it's hot out.
Oh.
Stay away from anything synthetic that could trap heat.
Makes sense.
And you want to avoid anything they could chew off and swallow.
Yeah. My dog loves to chew.
Especially if you have a chewer.
He puts everything in his mouth. So what about colors and patterns?
Good question.
Are there some that are like too much for dogs?
Right.
Like, would a bright neon sweater be too intense for them?
Well, we don't know for sure,
Okay.
but some experts think dogs might be more sensitive to certain colors
Oh, really?
because they don't see color like we do.
Interesting.
They can see some colors,
Oh.
but not as many as we can.
So maybe pay attention
Yeah.
to how they react to certain colors.
If your dog seems to be staring
Yeah.
at your neon pink leggings,
Okay.
maybe skip the matching outfit.
Good points.
Remember, it's about them feeling good,
Right.
not just looking fashionable.
Happy dog, stylish dog.
Exactly.
And speaking of stylish dogs,
Yeah.
Shantell Designs are a great example
Oh, they are.
of how to mix fashion and function.
She's really impressive.
Yeah.
She takes inspiration from human fashion,
Mm-hmm.
but she makes sure it works for dogs, too. She even thinks about the breed and their personality when she's designing.
It's like a personal stylist for your dog. But on a more serious note.
Yeah. One of our sources mentioned something called dominance relationships. Yes. Can you talk about what that means?
Basically, it means acknowledging that in the relationship, we have the power.
Okay.
We control their food, their environment, even how they look.
So we're in charge.
And even though we try to be good owners,
Right.
it's important to remember that.
Yeah.
And make sure we're not taking advantage of it.
Even if we don't mean to.
Even accidentally.
I see how that connects to consent.
Exactly.
You can't exactly say no
Right.
to a certain outfit,
No.
but we should still pay attention.
We should.
If they seem uncomfortable or don't want to wear something.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about clothes.
Right.
We should be thinking about this in everything we do with our dogs.
In every part of the relationship.
Yeah.
Are we giving them choices?
Yeah.
Are we respecting their boundaries?
These are really important questions for all dog owners. Yeah, it's like we're always learning new things about how to be better with our dogs and realizing that every dog is different.
Yeah, they have their own personality and preferences.
For sure.
Which brings us back to fashion.
Okay.
There's so much to choose from.
There is.
How do we even start picking the right outfit?
I think a good place to start is with practicality.
Practicality.
What are you using the clothes for?
Okay.
Is it to keep them warm
Okay.
or to protect them?
Yeah?
Or just for style?
So if I'm taking my dog for a walk when it's cold,
Yeah.
I'd pick a warm sweater.
Right.
But if we're going hiking,
Mm-hmm.
he'll need something tougher.
Yes.
Something that can protect him from thorns and stuff.
And don't forget about being seen.
Oh, yeah.
If you're out when it's dark,
Right?
having something reflective could save their life.
That's a good point. It's easy to focus on cuteness
Yeah.
and forget about the practical side.
It is. And what about water?
Oh, yeah.
If your dog likes to swim,
Uh-huh.
a life vest is a must.
Definitely.
It helps them float
Yeah.
and gives you peace of mind.
Especially if they're not a strong swimmer.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered warmth, protection,
Yeah.
and water safety.
Now for the fun part.
Yes, the thing stuff.
Colors, patterns, styles.
Can we go all out?
Awesome. Fashion is all about expressing yourself and having fun.
So if I want to put my dog in a sparkly tutu,
Go for it.
I just might. But are there any colors
Right.
that are too much for a dog?
So dogs can see color,
Right.
but they don't see it the same way we do.
Okay.
So bright colors might seem even brighter to them.
Interesting.
You know your dog best.
Yeah.
Trust your gut.
Oh,
Pay attention to how they react.
trust my instincts.
That's
Got it. So as we wrap up into dog fashion,
Yes.
any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
Just remember to have fun with it,
Fun.
but also be respectful. Fashion should be a way to bond with your dog,
Right.
not something that makes them uncomfortable.
So choose outfits that fit well,
Yes.
that are safe,
Uh-huh.
and that show off their personality.
Exactly.
And most importantly, have fun.
Have fun.
Well said.
If you need inspiration,
Yeah.
check out Shantell Designs' work.
Yes, her designs are incredible. And if you're obsessed with French Bulldogs like me,
Oh, yeah.
we'll put a link to that French Bulldog mug.
I love it.
You can find it in the description.
Until we bond again,